Fuck, whispered Adam, retreating from where he peeked through the sewer grate. Over the past 12 hours, his team had been successfully carrying out hit-and-run attacks on the militiawomen that were assaulting the town. Successfully, that is, until the last couple of hours. Every time his team maneuvered through the Undercity, their exits were blocked by no less than 3 fire teams of militia soldiers, clearly watching for movement. It had cost him too. Tarana had been hit in both arms, and Cell was currently in the process of restoring function to her suit by way of a small plug-in that simulated medical treatment on her kit. Adam was in the process of running around like a madman to see if they were guarding all of the exits, or just the ones he was near. He had gotten his answer upon hearing one of the women say, "I don't think they're here," while passing over a grate on patrol. Somehow, some way, they knew his position. He sat down in the darkness, illuminated only by his night vision, and pulled out his Omnipad. He flicked it to the area map and zoomed in, looking to the hospital. A flare of activity was visible through no less than 20 blue dots, 2 gold ones, and 4 grey X's inside the building. Going based off his knowledge, this indicated the remainder of his unit, with the gold dots being the other pod leaders. He assumed the X's to be friendly casualties, but couldn't be sure. He stood up, put away the device, and pushed through the tunnel. There was only one explanation viable to him, and that was that his unit had a leak. He had a sneaking suspicion of who it was, too. He returned to his team, where they sat in a large room with a vaulted ceiling, multiple tunnel entrances dotting the walls. Cell was in the process of fucking around with her device, which she connected to Tarana's helmet. Crow was pacing nervously, looking at the dark holes that surrounded them. "Bad news, everyone," said Adam. "I think we have a leak." "Gee, I wonder who it could be," asked Cell sarcastically, clearly following his line of thought. "Yeah. The real question is what we can do about it. Ideas?" Adam asked the group. Everyone shook their heads except Tarana, who tilted her head up and to the side. "I've got one, but it probably won't fool them for long," she said thoughtfully. "At most I need an hour. What have you got?" "Well, if you give me your Omnipad, I could spoof your signal off mine, essentially creating 2 dots on top of each other," she said, pausing to jerk slightly as Cell successfully unlocked one of her arms. "It would allow you time to move without our league knowing about it. What's your plan, though?" "There was a sewer manhole in the basement of the hospital, where our noble friend set the command station. If I'm right, and I think I am, they're behind our resounding lack of success lately." "So, you're going to sneak into the command room, catch them in the act, and report them to the instructors?" asked Cell. "Not quite. What would you do if you caught a traitor in the battlefield, eh?" Adam said with a malicious grin. Adam straightened his legs against the ladder, lifting the manhole cover above himself as quietly as possible. He peered into the room, sidearm held in an angle in front of him. The 2 noble recruits were loudly yelling over the table in the center, clearly on a conference call with someone. "I'm telling you, he hasn't moved in 45 minutes. Just go down and get him," said the larger of the pair. "Yeah, no. I'm not sending my girls into a dark, cramped tunnel with a guerrilla savant who fist fought one of my exos less than a month ago and won. My neck still hurts from the round he popped into my skull," came the reply over the device, in the center of the table. "Just give the order. They're big girls, they can handle it," she whined at the woman. "Nope, sorry. I'm more than happy to wait for them to come out, but I'm not going after someone like him. The Dasari house will make your life a living sea of souls for this. I'm sure the Distel family would just love to hear about this as well, wouldn't they, Virna?" She postulated to her companion. "Oh, yes. I'm sure my mother would just love to tell her Duchess about some no-name militia captain defying the orders of 2 nobles." An audible sigh sounded from the other end of the line, the woman clearly fed up with the duo. Luckily for her, so was Adam. He brought his sidearm up and sighted the Dasari woman, praying that the instructors had left friendly fire on. He got his answer as he sent a round into her skull. Her armor locked up as she fell forward onto the table, grunting the impact. Her companion had barely begun to shoulder the rifle in her hands, when 8 rounds stitched her from lower abdomen to the top of her helmet, and she fell backwards against the wall with a loud smack, her armor rigid. The 2 women lay on the ground, cursing audibly at Adam, who was laughing uproariously as he climbed out of the hole. He pressed the Save Last Recording on his helmet cam icon on the Omnipad and selected the video file, doing his best to navigate the Shilvanti-only user interface. Upon finally getting the correct option, he sent the compromising clip to the entire company. "All pods, this is Pod Leader Adam. I just sent out a video that I think you will enjoy. If anyone has an issue with me taking command of the defenses after this, please let me know." With that, he walked over to the table and coughed loudly. "Hey, Captain. It was so nice to hear you call me a guerrilla savant. I didn't know you cared," he said jovially. By this point, he was pretty sure the woman was being strong-armed into helping the 2 noblewomen. "Ah, nice to hear your voice," she said with a chuckle. Are our friends still around? They're alive, just a little stiff right now, if you catch my drift. Like the guys in my convoy that you hit yesterday evening? Exactly. Hell, I didn't realize it was morning yet. We should grab some coffee. I don't know what coffee is, but I am very interested in having a drink with the man who had the tits to fight one of my exos unarmed, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, unfortunately that's going to have to wait until after we have our little slugfest, though. Give me a minute to get our friends situated so we can have some privacy, he said cheerily, doing his best impression of Sal's chaotic energy. He was trying to sell the captain on the fact that he was absolutely off-the-wall batshit crazy. Go ahead, the captain deadpanned. Adam dragged the two women out into the hallway, much to their protests, before returning to the room. Before he could talk to the captain, however, a voice chimed over the radio. This is Acting Pod 2 Leader. I've watched the video. What's our plan? She asked, clearly miffed at either the women's betrayal or Adam's covert assassination. Send your most experienced fighter to the basement command room. Same goes to Pod 3. They'll be your new leaders. On it, the radio cracked before going dead. Adam returned to the conference call, hearing the OPFOR officer giving orders on the other end. Captain, I'm so sorry about the wait. Would you like to discuss your surrender now? He asked, in the same manic tone as earlier. Any chance I could convince you to surrender to me? I promise I'll make your stay comfortable, she said in a flirtatious tone. Ah, that's really tempting. But unfortunately, I've kind of got my career riding on this, so I'm going to have to turn that down. And besides, I don't think my girlfriend back on Fayara would like me returning with even more competition, Adam said, laughing, before taking a more serious tone. Hey, can you switch this to a private channel? Yeah. He heard the communication device click. What's up? I need to know. Were they forcing you to do this? Yes and no. As a commander, I'm going to use whatever tactics I can to get an edge, including intelligence from the enemy camp. That being said, they were a couple of pompous cuntwads, and I was beginning to regret opening communications with them. Why? That's all I needed to know, Adam said, hanging up the call. A couple more minutes passed, with him looking at the projected map in the room, along with the friendly units in the area, as he came up with a plan. You wanted to see us, sir? Asked a broad-shouldered Shorvanti woman, backed by a slightly slimmer and shorter one, entering the room. Yeah, I did. And don't call me sir, I work for a living. The women nodded at that, clearly missing the joke from his old life. He sighed and gestured at the map, flipping an overlay of the city sewer system atop it. Alright, here's my plan. I'm going to need Pod 1. Ionized air crackled by Adam's head as he sent a small burst of fire through the window he was covering. He leaned slightly to the side, obscuring himself from view as he dropped the mostly empty power cell from his weapon, replacing it with another. Pod 1 actual to Pod 3 actual. How are you looking on the ground floor? He asked into his radio. All good here, sir, boss, came the reply. For some reason, the other commander recruits would not stop calling him sir. He guessed they'd probably never had a male in charge of them before, and didn't really know the proper terms to describe what he was. Have they managed entry yet? He asked, trying to prompt a more clear answer. One got in, but she's currently locked up, blocking the front entrance. Good to know. You probably better have some company, though. That last wave got through my line of fire. Remember to pull back to the stairwells if you can't hold it. I prefer to keep you guys alive over losing the atrium. Got it. Adam returned to peeking out the window, sighting a militia woman who was breaking from cover to push the entrance. Finding his target, she flopped dramatically to the ground, rolling several times before stopping. He could hear the curses being shouted for a helmet from his third-story window. Never gets old, he thought, chuckling to himself as he darted back behind cover. Pod 1 actual, this is Recon Pod, came Sal's ever-cheery voice over the radio. Be advised, it looks like you've got an EXO approaching from the north of your location. Pod 1 actual receives. Keep your heads down, Recon team. Well, it looks like I'm due for a rematch, Adam thought, leaving the room. He hurried downstairs, taking the steps two at a time, and quickly made it to the command office. Walking up to the table with the communication device still on it, he fumbled until he found a call log. Hitting the redial on the last number, it beeped several times and then clicked on. Captain Raynara, said a familiar voice on the other end. Captain, hey, how are you? It's Adam, he said, with a weird inflection, keeping up his facade from earlier. Adam, I hope you haven't called to surrender already. I was just about to introduce you to a surprise. Well, very tempting, but no. I'm here to ask if this little exercise is worth another 80,000 credits in damage to that EXO you've got jumping towards me. Again. A few seconds of silence followed, the officer clearly not expecting him to have known about her plan this early in the game. Well, aren't you just full of surprises, she said, sounding both minorly annoyed and impressed. What can I say? I aim to please. In literally any other situation, Adam, I will be elated to hear those words come out of your mouth. She paused to take a breath before continuing. I'm sitting in my command office with your file pulled up. It's quite an enjoyable read. At least the parts that aren't redacted by Imperial-level codes. What the fuck have you been up to the past few years, pray tell? Adam paused. Now it was his turn to eat crow. He hadn't expected her to be able to get her hands on his file. Well, I hope they used a picture to capture my good side, he quipped, dodging the question. Well, she said, the line clicking audibly as it transferred to a secure channel. I've got to say, those Marines on Earth didn't know what hit them. I mean, your battle in Detroit should be a fucking study in effective guerrilla tactics at the Academy. Oh, said Adam, trailing off. This woman has somehow found a way past the censors. It's always good to hear your work is appreciated. Appreciated? Empress, no. The captain said with a giggle. Impressive, and glad you're on the side of the Imperium now? Absolutely. I know you're not actually crazy, Sergeant Adam Edward McGuinness, veteran of 4 tours in a country called Afghanistan. Fuck, your human words are hard to pronounce. Any particular reason you're trying to flex your in-depth knowledge of my background? Adam asked, not understanding where she was going with this. To thank you, if I'm being honest. The captain exhaled a deep sigh. The truth is, my girls are going a bit soft, and all the training we were conducting was making them either overconfident or self-defeating. The last few times we trained with other militia companies or the interior, I was somewhat annoyed at having to come here, to be honest. I expect it to be like the interior, where all they do is flex, as you so kindly put it, their superior technology and gear. So, you're excited to get your ass kicked? Asked Adam. That remains to be seen, but no. I'm excited to finally be training against someone who knows real war. My girls will win or lose based purely on their merits, instead of overpowered gadgets. And, as for you and me specifically, I'm just excited to finally be playing this game against an equal. Now, go play with the toy I sent you. It's had a few upgrades since you last met it, and Mummy wants to see if you enjoy. With that, the woman hung up. Adam didn't want to admit that he enjoyed the flirtatious banter, and how her finishing line had stirred something dark from within him. Shaken off the officer's words, he began to run out of the room, intent on stopping by the explosives pile on his way out. I'm going to introduce you to a few toys of my own, Mommy, he thought as he ran, honestly enjoying the experience of fighting this losing battle.